The core of education and the core of learning is literacy, because all other subjects depend upon that. And there are children who have not learned that for many reasons.
The stigma of not being able to read or of not being smart enough or good enough, sometimes it's not even that a child wouldn't be able to read, but it's just not wanting to try. It's a giving up. Can you imagine the drudgery and the hopelessness of being stuck in a place and not understanding what's going on around you, or not being able to participate because you can't read and you don't know what's happening, and you feel too stupid to ask a question because you think there's something wrong with you?
Most kids come to school, they want to be successful. They want to feel like they're getting it. And teachers want them to feel that level of success. So when it comes to what happens to a child and the detriment of not learning to become a reader, it's serious. It could affect a child in so many other ways.
When you look at those who are incarcerated, about 85% of them are functionally illiterate. So the link between literacy and an adult's ability to function in society is significant.
If a child cannot read at appropriate grade level by the 3rd grade, we can predict the number of prison space we'll need 15 years later. I mean, that's a sad statistic.
The one-on-one is a distinctive of the LEC literacy program, where the tutors, they come in 1 hour a week for 1 academic year to work with the same student that's struggling. Research shows that 1 hour a week has a significant impact on a child. Just being there, if you didn't even say anything, just the fact that you're there and you're consistent, because there's the undivided attention that's given to that child, where that tutor can focus specifically on those issues or on those challenges that that child is experiencing.
So there's been some interesting research that indicates acute childhood experiences, and acute childhood experiences can be described as anything from the loss of a parent to divorce to moving, having significant physiological and psychological impacts on a student's ability to be successful in school. But the story doesn't end there, because what research has shown is that a meaningful adult who steps into the life of a student can almost completely mitigate or erase these acute childhood experiences.
He was getting pretty frustrated there for a while. I mean, we worked with him as best as we could at the house, but my wife, she came home and said that it was proposed for Andreas to go so that way he could get better with his reading.
I spent the whole school year with Andreas this year. He's a great kid. He's very clever. He's very intuitive. You know, of course, right out of the gate, I guess you have that hurdle of, you know, from his perspective, hey, who is this guy and why is there a police officer hanging out with me? But it didn't take long. We just got along. When I'd go down to his classroom to sort of pick him up and bring him back to the lab to work, but when I would knock on the door, all the kids would look to see who was coming to pick up somebody. And then when he would notice it was me, you'd see his face light up and he would jump up from wherever he was or whatever they were doing and come running over to the door. And that was fantastic. Like, I looked forward to that every week.
I think he cool, because he'd be nice to me and spend time with me a lot.
The teachers immediately noticed some improvements in his confidence, his ability to problem solve, his stamina, you know, his willingness to try, to do that struggling that happens when you're learning. They also saw him come out of a shell, start to be more verbal, start to ask more questions, start to let the teachers know when he needed more assistance.
And bad.
Right.
I did not.
Do you remember that one?
Walk.
I've seen remarkable improvement, and not only have I seen it and noticed it personally, but we use data that we start out with at the beginning of the tutoring school year, that we try to rank them at a certain level. Hey, how many of these words do you know? In the beginning of the school year, he would recognize, say, 70% of them or 60% of them, and now obviously just breezes through all of them.
What LEC tutors have the opportunity to build is what researchers are saying are more predictive of children becoming successful adults. And that is the ability to be gritty, to be tough, to be resilient. And this is the unique piece that LEC is bringing, their tutors are bringing to students.
As I started researching how to teach chess to children so I could teach my daughter how to play, I came across a number of studies that spoke about the improvement in academic areas, specifically math and reading, for children that had incorporated chess education within their academic curricula. It's so effective as a tool that there are 30 countries right now that mandate chess education, and after my experience with the LEC, I thought that this would dovetail perfectly with their mission. We pitched the program to the school, they liked it right away. They handpicked 10 students for the pilot program. In general, all of the children at first, it was difficult to get them to focus. It's a complex game, there's a lot of components to it.
Moving the knight is usually bad. If I move the knight to d4, I'm going to lose my queen.
As time progressed and they learned more and they started playing games, you could really see them concentrating and focusing on the pieces and, you know, rubbing their head and trying to figure out the best moves. So it was incredible to watch. And at the end of the program, all the students improved by 1 academic year, both in reading and math. So it's astounding. I mean, it's better than I had hoped for.
My background was not set. You know, I came from Brooklyn, lived in the projects, we were homeless at one time. So knowing that I've made it and I can show young girls or even young men, there's hope. You know, you're not stuck where you are.
I am the product of a one-room school, elementary school, and a teacher who taught 7 grades in one room. There was never a day that she did not say to us that you are important, there is nothing that you cannot do, and I'm here to help you do that, and you are going to be successful. And my whole life has been built upon that, thinking about what she did and what she said to me. Many children right in this lab walk taller, see themselves in a different light, in a more positive light, because they've had the opportunity to share and hear someone say that to them. You are important. You can do this, and I believe in you.
I've had tutors come in and get a student that was so shy you could barely hear when she was speaking, and the tutor would be, every time she finished, Wanda, I don't know what I'm going to do. This is not going to work. I said, just keep coming. Just be consistent. Just show you care. And the more she did it, the more the child began to open up. And by the end of our time with her, she was reading and she was being tested for the gifted program.
You certainly develop a relationship with these kids that's your hope, some point in their life that they will remember you. And I'm quite certain that some of them will remember you because, like I said, from my background, I certainly remember the mentors that I had in my life.
Part of the uniqueness of LEC is their commitment to engage a broad spectrum of the community in children's lives, so that the more police officers, citizens of business and industry can get connected with the next generation, the better that transfer of information and relationship and opportunity to value one another as individuals, I think is part of the brightest spot that LEC brings to the work that they're doing.
We're put here on this earth to give back, to serve others, so that that person that you're giving back to will one day do the same exact thing.
If I can rise to the level of deputy chief coming from the inner city, there's a deputy chief somewhere in this program, or a president, or a doctor, or a lawyer.
The Life Enrichment Center is a godsend. They really truly believe in children. They really truly believe children are the future, and they're committed and dedicated to putting the time behind that, to putting resources behind that, to partnering with schools, and to loving children and helping them to grow.
I think that the Life Enrichment Center is amazing, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm incredibly grateful for the program because it's helped my son.
The impact is just, there's just no words for the impact that you're having. This hour that you're with this child and you're really reaching out to them is going to be something that they're going to remember for the rest of their lives. And it all starts with the foundation that LEC is providing.
Invariably, I would say maybe by the 7th session, that child will look up at their tutor and say, "Are you here just for me?" And when that tutor is able to look that child in the eye and say, "I'm here just for you," it's like you're giving that child $1 million.
I'll rise up, rise like the day. I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I will rise 1,000 times again, and we'll